Man, I am fired up for today's guest. Coach Payne is finally on the No Gray Areas podcast. He's a powerhouse speaker, has over 30 years in the fitness industry, and is a top global motivator known for his raw truth and no excuse mindset. In this episode, we dive into what it means to live with the warrior mentality, why comfort can be so dangerous, and how to not let pain define you. Let's get started. Coach Payne, thank you so much for being on the No Gray Areas podcast. I'm so excited. I told you the story a little bit, but Peyton, who is kind of behind the scenes and she works and she makes No Gray, she's one of them that makes No Gray Areas happen. She actually is working for you and with you at your studio. She's running a spin class, right?
Yes, sir. At Command Cycle Studio.
Yeah, and you just launched this gym there, and so we're going to promote that in a little bit. But
Appreciate it.
she came back and was talking to me about, hey, I just started doing this thing, and I'm working with this Coach Payne. He's a really cool guy. And I'm like, whoa, time out. You can't be talking about the Coach Payne because you're almost like a celebrity sitting in front of me for years. When I go into the gym, I get online, I just listen to like motivational talks and everything. And man, audience, if you have not heard Coach Payne, you have a YouTube channel, just go look up Coach Payne. You'll go to his YouTube channel.
Yes, sir.
You talk about a motivator. If you struggling doing another rep or another set, you need to go listen to Coach Payne. So anyway, I'm so excited to have you here.
I'm excited to be
here.
But
let me just jump into this because on your website and on your YouTube channel, you actually have this quote, and I want you to start speaking to this one. You said, "It is through difficult situations and great pain that the human spirit grows and character is developed."
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. How can a victory be won without a struggle first? How can you know what a victory is if you never suffered? And a lot of times people always want to be at the top, but they have no idea what it means to be at the bottom. What's important is that sometimes people hate to fail. Nobody wants to suck at anything.
Yeah.
We always want to win.
Yeah.
But what happens when you lose? And do you know how to adapt from a loss? It's the difference between losing and giving up.
Yeah.
I believe failure is a lesson, which most people do know that. Today's society, it's all about competing with the next person, the next business, the next individual, who knows? But there's nobody better than you. Nobody can do you better than you. Your battle is within yourself. So I believe that in time, as we grow as individuals, whether you're young or mature, you have to understand, one, you are a human being, and two, you just don't know everything. And three, you got to suck at something.
Yeah.
It's okay. You know, do you stay there? No. Do you complain about it? Not necessarily.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it? Because a complaint don't do nothing for you. If I complain about it, it just sits there and it just builds up negative energy. So I believe that for the most part, when you're going through these notions and you want to get to a point in your life, you got to hurt to grow.
Yeah. I found that true in my life. We were talking about it before we turned the mics on. We're pretty close to the same age, so
Yes,
I'm
sir.
53 right now. When I look back on my life, you have to hurt to grow. That's a powerful statement. It's a deep statement, but it's the most growth I've seen at different stages of my life was always in painful moments.
When you're in the darkest place, you can find the light, but the light is you. You have something that is very, very powerful within you. There's the flesh and there's the spirit, but the flesh is weak. The spirit is eternal. You have to become a warrior, man.
Yeah.
And you have to have that connection.
Yeah.
And sometimes we depend more on our flesh than our eternal spirit.
Yeah.
Emotions are dangerous, but you can use those emotions to benefit you if you use them the right way. But again, we're living in a time right now where people will kind of let their judgment be clouded by things they may be surrounded by, like social media.
Yeah.
Everything on social media. I think sometimes social media is like a cesspool.
Yeah.
I think
Agreed.
more positive information out there is frowned upon. And all the bad stuff is like, yay.
Yeah.
Keep it coming. I love the negative stuff.
Yeah.
So drama sells tickets, and you either can run away from it or you can be a part of it. You become a product of your environment. And you got to know the type of people you hang around with and the company you keep. The spirit is a powerful weapon. It is a gift, you know. I look at where I'm at in my life. I've had my heartaches. My pain became my passion. Losing my mom over 12 years ago was probably one of the hardest things I had to endure. I was just traveling in from out of town about a week before, and then I did a bodybuilding competition back in 2011, NPC, Physique back in Chicago, Midwest Division. The very next day I took second place, I lost my mom. She was, had a massive stroke.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, man, that's what woke me up though. She had to die. And I want to say she had to, but I think her death resonated enough in me to get me to a different point that my pain became my passion. So that's what I mean about
How so? Because I know that's a tagline. That's something you say
I say
often.
it
I've heard you
often.
quite
I
a few
say it a
times when I'm
lot.
working out saying that to
Yeah,
me. It's out of my pain that my passion was born.
absolutely.
And that's specifically
That
talking
is
about
one
what
of the
happened to your
that is
mom.
one of the most things. I always would tell people you can't hurt me anymore because the hardest pain that I had to endure was losing the woman that gave me life.
Yeah. You were pretty close to your mom and
I
dad,
was very
weren't you?
close to
Yeah,
my
you had good
Yeah, I
parents?
was a mama's boy
Yeah.
at a certain point. But it's a fact, that's your first love is your mom.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Especially for boys.
Yeah.
And I believe that. And thank God for my wife,
Yeah.
that she keeps me balanced, and I'm grateful for the lessons that I've learned. At the age of 10, I could never forget it. Sitting at the edge of the bed, she would always tell me, I don't know what God gonna do with you, but he's got a calling on your life. But one thing she's always said to me, she said, whatever you do, and I say this often to people, she will always say, don't change people, make a difference.
Don't change people,
Make
make
a
a
difference.
difference.
So in other words, she would say, don't try to change people, make a difference. Because you can't change people.
Your mom was a wise woman.
Yo, she was a beast.
Yeah. Wow.
She was no joke. My
And-
dad
and-
too.
and-
He was a monster too.
Yeah,
So they
yeah, and
both
I
were
read that. I
incredible.
wanted to get to that, man. What a gift, right? That you had two parents that you have so much respect for.
Absolutely. Grandparents, you
And
name
then
it.
I
I come from
loved what you just described too. 10 years old, and your mom is just speaking
never
life
forget that
into you,
message.
saying you got a
Never
calling
forget it.
on you. Like
Never forget it.
that's part of our role as parents, isn't it? To
Yeah.
speak that into our
You
kids'
wanna
lives.
you wanna have the fire to, you know, and I'd say this out of respect. I think today's society is soft. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna be honest.
Yeah.
And we need to change that, especially for these kids, because they're the future.
Yeah.
And us as parents now, we have to instill that we're passing the torch. They're no good to us and we're no good to them if we're not showing how good we are together as a whole.
Yeah.
It takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah.
And too many people gotten to a point to where it's like, just go do what you want, go where you want to go, do what you want to do. And the information that they get from being out there, they bring it back home to you. And now you got to fix that.
Mhm.
So you always got to go back home and ask yourself, what would my parents think?
Mhm.
Who loved me? Who raised me?
Mhm.
Who taught me right from wrong? Who put me in perspective and the direction I need to go?
Yeah.
Raise up a child that he should be
Yeah.
raised,
Yeah.
and what's in him will not depart from you.
Yeah.
We got to get back to those roots. And I think, for our society, it's always like people say times have changed. Principles and morals never change.
That's right.
Never.
Yep.
And I stand on that.
Yep. And that's so powerful to know because, again, you think about the change that the last 100 years have brought to, like, humanity for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yes, sir.
There would be a small technological change, like they made the wheel a little bit better,
Yes,
a little
sir.
bit rounder, whatever.
Yes, sir.
But then we go from driving cars in the early 1900s, we have someone on the moon in 1960, to now we got a phone that's this computer and all this stuff in our
Technology.
But through all that change, your point is that the character, morality, standards, those things don't change.
You can build a city of fortune, but you can't change the man that I am today. Doesn't matter what you build around me. You can't change who I am.
You're a poet, my friend.
No,
You're a poet. Hey,
just a man.
Is this what your mom saw in you when you were 10? Like,
Nah,
did you always have
I'm
this,
just-
or is that something you?
I believe that, again, and I use this, not out of just saying it. Something had to happen, whether it was very, devastating
Mhm.
or sad, whatever you want to call it. You had to lose to win.
Yeah.
I had to lose something to discover who I was.
And that was really when your mom died. That was a
My
big
mom
thing.
turned it around
Yeah.
because I watched this woman leave this world. I watched her transition when the doctor came into the little quiet room with my family, and I was the first one to run in the room when he said there's nothing they can do for her because she had a massive stroke. And obviously my dad discovered on the side of the bed the day we lost her. And she was on life support for about 7 days. But the doctor basically told us a few days before she passed that there was nothing they could do for her because she had too much blood on her brain, things like that. And I always had that sense of hope, like anybody would.
Mm-hmm.
And the part that resonates to this day is when I walked in the room and looked at her, hugged her, and I told her I was going to make her proud, and do the things that she would expect of me. And as I was hugging her, I saw a tear go down her face. Mm. And they always say when a person is transitioning, the last thing to go is their hearing. Mm. And I remember someone saying to me that she heard everything you said. Mm. So to this day, I take that with me. You can never stop grieving. Yeah. Everybody grieves differently. Yep. I grieve every day. Some days I have my cry moments. Some days I have my anger moments. Some days I have my smiles. Yeah. One of her favorite songs we played at her funeral ceremony was "My Girl" by the Temptations. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that song would come on and I would just be emotionally involved. Yeah. And sometimes I have to remind myself, people would say, it's just her talking to you. Or she's there with you. So I have to sometimes turn it around and use it as a positive thing and just remember the good times. Mm-hmm. But man, it hurts. Oh, yeah. It hurts. It really hurts.
And this has been a lot of years and you're still saying it. It's not past tense, it's present tense. You're saying that.
It's something that you can never let go.
That's the dumb thing about that phrase, time heals, right? Time doesn't magically heal.
No. Yeah. Listen, you could put a Band-Aid on an open wound, doesn't mean that it's going to work. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter. We are, again, we're built on emotions. Yeah. Men, women, doesn't matter. How you harness that. Yeah. When I say again, my pain has become my passion, I can say things to people and people would think, oh, that sounds scary. Yeah. And I would tell people I can motivate an earthworm to come out of the ground. It doesn't matter to me. You can say to do whatever, it doesn't matter. The problem is that when I mentioned earlier about laziness, we are guilty of that. We don't have to be lazy. We choose to be lazy. I work hard every day. Open and close my business every day. My wife works hard every day. Work is work. When people say work hard, not smart, or work smart, not hard, and I come back and I say, why not do both? Where do people get this analogy is crazy. Like, work smart, not hard.
I love that.
Do both.
Yeah.
You don't have to be this person. Well, I work smart, but not hard. But the person that's hungry and wants to get to that level, they're doing both. Yeah. Because they're going to outsmart you and they're going to outwork you because you're too busy being smart.
Yeah, that's so true. So let's land there for a moment. You were talking about that before we turn the mics on, about how you think one of the biggest struggles today or the biggest problems today is laziness.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I agree with that. Yeah. 100%.
You think that's a cultural thing?
I think it's more than a cultural. I think it's a human thing. I think the problem is just that sometimes we pick and choose what we want to do, right? Mm-hmm. I want to do this. I want to do that. I don't like that. I won't do that. It's more about the want and less about the need. Mm. I need to eat to live. I don't need coffee to start my day. But there's a coffee shop on every corner. Mm-hmm. Nothing against people that drink coffee, but you don't need it. You just want it. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're pointing at me and you don't know how much you're pointing at me. I can't survive without my coffee. No, I can. That's your point.
But my point is that we depend on things that we don't always necessarily need.
Yes.
Now, the lazy mentality comes into effect when it's something that doesn't interest us to do. Mm-hmm. I like to work out. You obviously like to work out. We are in the fitness. I'm a coach. I train military, civilians, first responders. But then I come back to, it's a privilege, man, to get up out of your bed. It's a blessing to be able to start up your car and go and do things that you don't normally like to do. It's okay to challenge yourself. Look at what my shirt says.
Yeah. Being comfortable can put you in a dangerous place.
It can.
Yeah.
People are, look, you're dangerous to yourself when you're lazy. I don't like to work out. I don't like to lift weights. I don't like to run. I'm just a runner. I just lift weights. You are a one-dimensional person who has no idea where you want to go. Mm. But I go right back to what if?
Yeah.
I coach you to train you to prepare yourself for what may, could, or may Well, I'm not worried about that. I'm a lover, not a fighter. You are a fighter because you couldn't get out of bed. So you fighting to get up.
Mm-hmm.
So guess what? You are a fighter.
Mm-hmm.
Those are your demons dragging you down,
Yeah.
man. So yeah, people are lazy. I don't mean that as a whole, but it's just what it is.
Yeah, yeah,
It is
yeah.
a bad thing, and
And
we
you-
need to change that.
And I like what you said, Coach Payne. You know, when I said, do you think it's a cultural thing? It goes bigger than that. It's a human thing.
It's a human
So
thing.
how do you, Coach Payne,
Yes, sir.
you deal with laziness because
All
you're
the time.
human. So how do
Absolutely.
you fight that?
Let's say this. I don't depend on my alarm clock, for example, right? People say my alarm didn't go off. You don't have no idea how many times I've heard that. And some of my clients know how much that makes my gums itch.
Yeah.
I can't stand it.
If you start training me and I show up late and I tell you I better not say my alarm didn't go off, and I better not
That'll
show
be
up
the
late
worst.
publicly.
That'll be
I
the
can
worst
tell.
mistake you can make to me, because then
Okay.
I'll come back to this.
Wait, let me write that note down.
Yes, it's a fact. Because here's the thing: we depend on machines. We depend on a machine. Why would you wait for an alarm to tell you to get up? If God Himself has given you the air in your lungs and the heart that you have to beat, that's your alarm.
Hmm.
God said, "Get up," not the alarm. Get up.
Mm-hmm.
My heart's beating. That's God saying, "Get up."
Mm-hmm.
My lungs are working. That's God saying, "Get up."
Right on. So one of the things you mentioned earlier too, when you were talking about, and I didn't miss this, you were talking about competing, and you're
Yes,
saying
sir.
that we end up like competing against other people
Mhm.
and other things,
Yes.
but you said the competition is really
Yeah.
with ourselves. And I wanted to
Yeah.
speak into that because
Please.
I agree. I think sometimes it's unhealthy how much we compete against other people.
Amen, brother.
And we don't realize that our greatest competition is ourselves, right?
It's here.
It's here. It's right in here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, here's where I am with that. We are so drawn to what we see,
Mhm.
because the eyes can play tricks too,
Mhm.
as well as the mind. And we are too busy looking at other people and what they look like, what they're wearing, what car they drive, the business they own, who knows. But what's for you is for you. What's for them is for them. How they got it, the way they got it, we don't know. Maybe you do, maybe you don't.
Mhm.
But why not just embrace who you are and build on that? The sand on the beach lays flat. It's rough, it's soft. But if you want to build a sandcastle, how do you build it? It starts with you. His sandcastle is his story.
Mhm.
My sandcastle is my story.
Mhm.
It still has a foundation. Just because your house is looking one way doesn't mean my house has to look that way.
Mhm.
We're all built different. We
Yeah.
look different.
Yeah.
We walk different. We talk different. We believe in different things. No two bodies are alike. It's not a one size,
Mhm. Mhm.
society. But
Yeah.
the problem is when you hear people say, "I want to look like her," I say, "Why not look like you?
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to be like you when I grow up." Don't be like me, because I already made my bed.
Yeah.
Make your own.
Yeah.
Be better than me. I tell my kids that all the time. Don't be like me and your mom. Be better than us.
So let me take one realm or area that's not in the working out or
Yes, sir.
fitness,
Yes, sir.
but you do it, and I used to do it.
Yes, sir.
Speaking. This is just to make your point.
Yes, sir.
I spent a lot of time when I was in my 20s imitating other speakers,
Yes, sir.
like a lot of speakers do, right?
Yes.
When I really kind of got in the groove is when I started asking, like, who am I as a communicator? So for me, it became I was a narrative speaker. So when I realized, like, I'm a storyteller,
Mhm.
you have a gift that very few people could do. Like
I
when you
appreciate
go
it.
in, you don't necessarily have notes or anything. And I'm not saying
It's
you're
okay.
not saying, hey, everybody should do
I
that.
don't
You're
think
going,
that at
that's
all.
you.
That's who I am.
That's how you speak.
Amen, brother.
For me, what I found out when I quit looking around and trying to imitate other speakers, went
Yes.
like, well, how did God make me? That's when I really got in. That's kind of your point, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, that's the beauty of it, man. I mean, I think it's like looking at a rainbow. You see the rain, it pours, it comes down. But what's attractive about a rainbow is the colors,
Mhm.
the multicolors. If the rainbow
Mhm.
just one color, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
seen that before.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's rare to see a rainbow in the sky, but when you see it and it's beautiful,
Yeah.
you like,
It's the diversity
you
of it that
understand?
makes it so beautiful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's different. It's unique.
Mm.
It's colorful. It's multi. It's variety. We are a variety species. It's like we're so stuck in this mindset of thinking that he did it, I'm going to do it. He jumps in the ocean, I'm going to jump in the ocean. There's a lot of sharks out there.
Mhm.
And you jump in the ocean, you better learn how to swim quick, because everybody don't know how to swim.
Mhm.
You go ahead and jump in the ocean with the tens and thousands of people. I'm going to just walk on the beach while y'all out there figuring it out. I already made up my mind. I'm going to just walk on the beach and have my peace. When I need to go in, I'm going to go in. I don't need to jump because you jump.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's the mistake that we make as a society. I don't believe in the saying of, you know, most people always buy into this whole thing, you know, the greatest compliment is imitation. No, you're a thief. That's what you are.
That's good.
You're a thief because you have no originality.
Yeah.
We can always learn from each other.
Yeah.
But taking makes you a thief.
Yeah.
It's not a compliment. You have no uniqueness about yourself.
Yeah.
And you're not original. And for people to follow that, I don't understand it. Because again, I'm going right back to what I said. Be the best of who you are, and those that believe in you will follow you.
Yeah.
Let them follow you.
Yeah.
Don't take from this person and that person, use it, get credit for it, and everybody's jumping through hoops about you, not knowing where the source is. Yeah. I want to go to the source. Why would I follow somebody who has no ideas about who they are?
Yeah. You know, we're both men of faith. Ephesians 2:10 is a great verse that speaks into what you're talking about, because it says, for we are created in Christ Jesus, where is workmanship. That's the English word. It was really originally written in Greek 2,000 years ago. The word actually means that we are God's workmanship, his poem, his symphony, his work of art. It's to your point.
Yes, sir.
That I am unique. I am a symphony, a work of art that God created, and there's no one ever has been or ever will be like me.
Amen.
Same with you. Same with any other human that you see out there. And what you're saying is you're encouraging people to dig and dive into
themselves,
that, figure out who that is.
Well, think about it. You have kids. I have adult kids. Obviously, you have adult kids. Hey, my daughter and son are like comparing apples and oranges.
Yes.
Right?
Same family.
They are two different people. They know where they come from. They know who they are. But one goes left, the other one goes right. And mom and dad in the middle like, what? And what what did we, and like anybody, you know, you're up and down, left and right. But what I mean is we're God's children. For those that are believers, he's the father, we're the children.
Yeah.
All of us are different.
Yeah.
We all have something that makes it. Listen, if you were created for a reason.
Yeah.
When you don't know what your life is, you need to work on that. There are a lot of people out here in pain. There are a lot of people that are hurting. Like when I talk about my pain is my passion, some people don't know how to turn their pain into fire, into passion, into motivation or determination or willingness. Some people allow their pain to destroy them, and it takes from them, and it hurts them, and it eats them alive, and they don't know how to direct it. You got to learn the art of misdirection. I learned that. If it's coming at me at 100 miles an hour, I go back to saying, I am my father's son. I remind myself, because I know where I come from.
Yeah.
Not just from the Most High, but how I was brought into this world. And I'm admiring my environment, and I'm learning, because the greatest teachers in the world are people.
Yeah.
I don't have to pick up a book. I can just sit there and go out there and stand out there. You can stand right there out that corner right there for about 5 minutes, and you're going to see something crazy or stupid happen. And you just absorb that. Every day is a lesson. Every single day. And your greatest teacher, one of your greatest teachers are people.
Yeah.
But the greatest teacher is life.
Yeah. Well, and I believe that. I mean, my story, if you back, I didn't grow up, you know, I had parents that I really loved, but my dad ended up, you know, having a double life and found out all these things, and there was all hypocrisy. And
yes, sir.
So I remember when I was a young man and I was about to get married. We got married young, 19. We celebrate 34 years this July 6th.
Congrats.
But I realized I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is to be a real husband. I don't know what it is to be a real father.
I can tell you that.
So what I did is I looked for some guys that are like, that's the kind of father I want to be, or that's the kind of husband I want to be. And I sat down and said, teach me. Yeah. And like you're saying, some of our greatest teachers in life are people. Just people. If we'll look around and watch people.
You know, it's funny. I had on one of my posts, getting ready to send out on my YouTube channel about relationships, about, you know, people getting hurt and rebounding. I'm just paraphrasing this. And I always say that if you don't have the ability to love yourself, no one is going to love you. You can be out there chasing love. It can hurt you in the end. You know, this is it. I'm just speaking. Everybody has their beliefs. I don't believe the gift that God brought in this world, which is a woman. There's no woman on this earth should be chasing a man. I tell my daughter, don't you ever chase somebody.
Okay.
You say, he that founded a wife is a good thing, not the other way around.
And we're wired as
Right.
pursuers, aren't
And
we, as guys?
women are what they are and men are what they are. But the thing about love is that we chase it and we don't know why. You know, love hurts, love costs, love is a reality check, and it can sting if it brings you to that position.
Any of our listeners have been married very long, know how true this is.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Whether you're married or you're in a relationship, you have to understand it's not just you in the relationship. What you believe the other person may not. And you don't have to think alike to be together. Equally yoked means equally yoked. That doesn't mean my wife thinks the way I think 100% of the times. I don't think the way she thinks 100% of the time. The beauty of it is that they say opposites attract, and it does. Because I don't want a replica of me. I need the balance, right? And that's life.
And that's how you're going to grow,
but
too,
that's
right?
life.
Yeah.
It's like, again, going back into working out. If you're just a runner, hey, man, stop running so much.
Yeah.
Because then I'm going to ask you, if you tell me you're running, I'm going to say, what are you running from?
Yeah.
Or what are you running to?
Yeah.
I don't mind you being a runner. That's great. But there are other things you can do to stay fit. We have to stop this, I'm this person and that's it. No, you are a magnificent, amazing, universal creation. Step outside of your comfort zone.
I believe that. Yeah.
Stop with this, all I do.
Yeah.
This is all I used to do. So you're saying you're used up?
Yeah. Yeah.
Stop used to doing it, just do it.
Yeah.
Stop trying and just do it. What is trying doing for you?
That's good. You just mentioned it. Stepping out of your comfort zone, which goes back to you talking about, how lazy we can tend to be. And it's just a human thing. But stepping out of your comfort zone, I do think that even as parents, that's one of our primary roles is to help our kids step out of the comfort zone sometimes. And it's how we learn things. And how do you do that? Like, let's say you're talking to a bunch of adults that are listening to this podcast.
Yes, sir.
And I do think that we become a society, like you said, it's human nature.
It's human.
But it's also a society, I think, that's really gotten to this. It's about how I can get the most comfortable. So what would be some of your recommendations for our listeners, for me sitting across the table,
yes, sir,
on how we can effectively step out of our comfort zones?
Well, the way I feel is this. If something, God forbid, bad was to happen, how would you respond to it? Are you prepared to endure it? Are you prepared to attack? Are you prepared to do what's necessary to make it through? When people say, I survived, I say, no, you didn't survive. You lived. There is no survival. There is no, I survived. No, you lived.
Coach Payne, you are a poet. I'm going to say it again, man. I love how you're a wordsmith.
No,
I love how you put things together, man.
I don't buy into this propaganda thinking that we all...
I'm a survivor.
Yeah, I'm not a survivor. Yeah. I'm a lifer, man. I'm living.
That's good.
I'm living. I'm alive. I don't have time to be lazy. Every second counts. Every minute counts. Every hour counts. Every day counts. Every week counts. Every month counts. 12 months out of the year, it counts. Do you realize the moment you walk out that door and go to your next destination, there's things in between that can stop you. And you just think you can just go about your day being comfortable because life is just so good. Life is life.
Yeah.
Even rich people got problems.
And that's your point. Your point is that when that difficult time comes, to get through it, not to survive, to live. But man. You've got to be moving out of your comfort zone now to prepare for that.
Attack.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't like to do this. Let me ask you something. Does it look like it'll hurt you and build you? Or does it make you feel like you'll be dead and done? I usually tell my clients, I have to break you before I make you. Some people will get a little intimidated by how I said that, but listen to it. I didn't say breaking you just in general. I'm breaking your weakness. I'm breaking your excuses. I'm breaking your doubts. I'm breaking your fears. I got to break you. Then I'm going to make you. And my client, who's a law enforcement from Mesa, she's basically like a DI now. And she's been training with me for years. And she uses that quote for the police academy. I got to make you. I got to break you before I make you. I'm sorry. I got to break you before I make you.
Yeah.
And that's the idea. It's like people are afraid to step into that fire.
Yeah, because the braking is uncomfortable.
Yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
get on. Listen, you cannot listen. I don't care who you are. If you had an easy life, you never had one. I'm gonna just be honest with you. Whoever your listeners are, I'm telling you, I'm telling the world. If you had an easy life, you never had one. Living a dream, when are you gonna have a nightmare?
Yeah.
I'm living a dream.
Yeah.
You never had a nightmare?
Yeah.
Wait till you have one. Because you've been living a dream so much, you never had a nightmare, huh? You never had yourself put to the ground. You never ate crow, but you've been eating steaks all your life. You never tasted dirt. You never been knocked down. But now you Superman because somebody put you up there. You didn't work your way up there. You got put up there. You cheated your way to success. Success doesn't owe us anything.
Yeah.
We got to earn it.
Yeah.
Our kids, you, me, as long as you're alive, you're being taught lessons.
Yeah.
Are you prepared for those lessons? Are you prepared to get knocked down? Are you prepared to fail? I don't like to fail. I don't want to fail. No, I don't like to lose. Get over yourself.
Yeah.
Lose.
You know, and Coach Payne, you just, again, jumping over to parenting right now.
No problem.
Such an important thing to try to instill in our children because, again, I think we live in a culture, in a world, like you said, it's human nature, but we've kind of moved toward trying to make life comfortable for our children. When I think a lot of generations, it was like, I need to prepare them for life. How do I prepare them for life?
I love you, man.
They're going to feel some pain.
I love
They're
you,
going to feel some hard things. I'm not going to go talk to that coach that is doing something that's making their life uncomfortable. I tell my son, well, you're a young man now. You go talk to the coach.
Yes, sir.
And that's what parenting should be.
The thing about parenting is that there's no rule book to it. Right?
Yeah.
There's no book. You know, when people say, well, how do you
What makes it so hard?
There is no, you know, it's kind of like you learn as you go.
Yeah. And every kid's different, like
every
you
kid's
said.
different, right? So, but the beauty of it is that we have to stop allowing the things that are not, look, you want your kid to learn the hard things as well as the good things. But when you're constantly feeding them things that's not helping them to grow, because you can't grow without pain. Yep. You've heard it before, no pain, no gain.
Yep.
You gotta hurt, man.
Yep.
How in the world can a child become a great adult if all they've been given is an easy life?
Yeah.
You don't deserve easy.
Yeah.
Okay? As again, I speak from a spiritual
perspective. That line that you just said, again, because you're
no
a poet with your words, so you throw out a line sometimes. It's like we could spend another hour talking about that line you just said.
Yeah. Why would you want an easy life?
Yeah.
Why? It's like, because listen, we're living in some unique times, man. Times are tough. Times are hard. Mm-hmm. It's really scary for a lot of people. But you haven't trained yourself. Mm-hmm. You haven't adapted yourself to what you are involved in because you're too busy looking at your phone and wondering what the next gossip thing is going on. You're too busy doing other fun things, but you're not training for what could happen. Mm. Look, fitness is a necessity. Mentally, physically, spiritually.
Because we're holistic.
We need everything.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that I don't worry about things. Yes, you do. Mm-hmm. I'm not afraid of anything. Yes, you are. Mm-hmm. We're afraid. We're human. Yep. You're afraid to get up in the morning because you're too lazy. Mm-hmm. See? Well, I'm not lazy. Yes, you are. Well, why do I have to get up in the morning? I don't need to get up. I want to get my sleep. Okay, keep sleeping because success is passing you by. Mm-hmm. While you sleeping, I'm working. Mm-hmm. That's the mistake that people make, young and old. Get up. Yeah. Because the other person, that's why that smart, hard stuff, I don't agree with it. Work smart, not hard. I don't like it. Yeah. You can put 1,000 people in my face and I'll tell them. Yeah. That's the craziest analogy I've ever heard in my life. Yeah. Stop it. Because people that have won championships, that have made it beyond and beyond success, they wasn't just working smart. Yeah. You got to work, man.
We need to get one of your videos to say that because I've listened to a lot of your videos. Yes, and I've never heard you do the smarter, harder thing. I'm sure you've done it somewhere.
Oh, man, I got it on my swag.
I'm sure you said it. I missed that care. One. Or maybe I wasn't listening close enough.
I love, listen.
That's good.
I love, I have to question where I am in my life. I sometimes question, what am I doing here? Not just in this world. What am I doing wrong? What have I said? Why haven't I made it to the next level in my life? I'm over 50. My shorter days are in front of me. My longer days are behind me. Why am I not getting these opportunities that other people are getting in? Who am I to judge them per se? They're here, I'm not. They're making it, I'm not. I'm struggling, they're not. And then I have to come back and just say, stop being shy and just tell it like it is. Because it seems like for most parts of the world, they want to hear it.
Yeah.
I don't
think
need to
deep down
use
we do.
profanity. I'm not condemning people that do that. I don't need to make, nasty gestures to people to get people to hear me. Like I said, I don't need to say something so vulgar and so out of place to get you to hear me. But how do you get people's attention? Most of the times you do things that are out of character to get their attention. I don't want to do that because you just mentioned something about, about spirituality. Christ stayed one direction. He walked one path. He taught one way. He didn't change it just to appease everybody else.
Right.
I'm not here for you to like me.
Yeah.
I'm here to get you to see that you need to love yourself and see your true potential, because so many people are afraid of their truth. So they rather believe a lie.
Yeah.
A lie tells better stories than the truth.
Yeah.
People hate the truth. Ooh, I don't want to hear that. You don't want me to tell you that you're lazy? That is so offensive. You making me feel so, I don't like you because how dare you? And why are you saying it? Because it's the truth.
Truth's uncomfortable.
You lazy. Right? Stop being lazy. How are you going to tell your child, you can do it? You could be the best. Come on, we see it. Best in soccer, best in football, best in school. Keep pushing, keep going, keep doing. You know what my son said to me on Father's Day? I was having breakfast with him, my wife and I. And he said, Dad, I don't want to give you a card. I just want to tell you how I feel.
Wow.
And he sat right there across that table and spoke to me how he appreciated me as his dad.
What a gift.
What I've taught him, how I work, what he sees in me. You know how powerful that is?
Wow.
For a man's son to look at his father as his hero? Yeah. You know how that made me feel as a man? Better he didn't have to look at somebody else on TV or a basketball player, football player, or celebrity. I am the guy. I showed my son, my daughter, who also, gave me a Father's Day gift. She brought me flowers and all that stuff. That's my daughter. But they see me. Not just as a father, but as a man. Yeah. As a man who's been knocked down, as a man who's been homeless, as a man who's been hurt, as a man who's been through hell and back. I've seen it. I'm not saying I've seen it all, but I've seen enough. But I never quit. And I always let them see me. Not the vulnerability of it, but just that, hey man, I don't feel like getting up, but I gotta get up. Yeah. I don't feel like getting in that car and driving from point A to point B, but I gotta get in that car and start that ignition because it ain't gonna move by itself. I got places to be. I don't want to be there, but I gotta get there.
Well, and Coach Payne, your message is so on point with what this podcast is about. We talk about the power and complexity of human choice.
Yes, sir.
That, again, from my worldview, my biblical worldview, I believe that humans are the pinnacle of God's creation.
Amen.
That we are the one things that we don't run by instinct like animals do. We have the power of choice.
Yes,
like
sir.
you said, I can choose to turn that car on. I can choose to leave it off.
Yes,
I can
ma'am.
choose to get out of bed.
Yes,
I can
sir.
choose to stay in bed. I got all of these choices. But the choices I make will eventually make me, like
Amen.
we're talking about. And that's your message, isn't it?
Yes.
It's like, be making the right choice then.
You know how much power we have? Do you realize how much power we have? I'm not talking about financial power. I'm not talking about, being the biggest guy in the gym and you're stronger than this guy or the fastest. I'm not talking about that. We are a beautiful creation that is just being wasted on doing nothing with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like when you said to me, that's a gift. Why waste it?
Yeah.
When you have something, like I say, you're born into this world, but God don't make mistakes.
Yeah.
When he made you for a reason. When he made me, and he didn't say it was going to be easy.
Yeah.
We all got a cross to carry. Every living human being, young, old, doesn't matter. Stop walking this earth like you can't be touched, because you can. Because believe me, you could be flat on your back. And if you don't know what that ground feels like, you don't know nothing. You just lucky. And somebody prayed a little bit harder for you. And that's why you're in the position you may be in. And maybe you earned it and maybe you didn't. But I have a lot more respect for you if you just learn to struggle a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I have a little bit more respect for you if you learn to hurt a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
How can you say you know a victory if you never lost? How can you say you're strong if you've never been weak?
Mm-hmm.
A baby is weak. It cries, it moans, it groans, it crawls. It doesn't have any support. But after a while, that baby getting tired of crawling. He's going to stand up sooner or later. He's going to start wobbling. He's going to hit his head. He's going to fall. He's going to cry. He's going to do all that
Fail over
stuff.
and over again.
And guess what? He's going to look at mom. He's going to look at dad. Mom and dad is going to do what?
Yep.
We are all children no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. We're always learning, man.
Yeah.
Life is a lesson.
You know, you have your little phrases that are pet peeves to you, like, and you've mentioned a couple of them. One
Yes,
of
sir.
the pet peeves of mine, one of the phrases I don't like is overnight success.
Amen,
You know, like,
brother.
look, he's an overnight success or she's an overnight success.
Amen, brother.
You look into their story, and I promise you they're not.
Come on.
If they're successful, if they're doing something great, you're going to go dig into their story. And for some reason, the media loves to try to paint the
Come
picture
on.
like it's an overnight success.
Amen.
But it's grinding.
It
They grind
is.
and they
It
failed
is.
and they kept getting back up, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. And, I use Michael Jordan phrase when he said, I fell over and over and
Mhm.
over and over again.
Mhm.
And that is why I succeed. The way I train, like my physical program training is more, like I said, practical.
Yeah.
I'm more of a practical fitness
Yeah.
guy. There are 1,000 gyms in Arizona,
Yeah.
right? And I'm built on practical,
Yeah.
because scenario stuff. But what I love about this business I'm in, and whether it's motivational fitness, is that you get to a point where you get to know what your true capabilities are
Yeah.
when you're tested.
Yeah.
So when people say easy life, like I said, I can't stand it. Living a dream, don't like it. It's okay to be happy, but when are you sad? I don't let nothing get to me. Things gonna get to you.
Mhm.
Something's coming after you.
Yeah,
You're
bro.
not that untouchable. Everybody deserves to get pushed.
Yeah.
Down or up or whatever. We all deserve that, because in my mind, I feel like when you're in that comfort zone again, the moment comes and you're not ready.
Yeah.
So yes, I think to a certain extent, we have to find a solution to our problem. And what is the problem? Overall, like you said, when you talk about overnight success, there are a lot of people out here, you be like, how, what? I said, how did he? What did I do? What am I doing wrong? You ask yourself, what? It's just not your season.
Mhm.
Maybe.
Mhm.
You may not ever make it.
Mhm.
As hard as you work, you may not ever get there. Doesn't matter. But nothing in my mind can condemn effort. That's why I don't like try. I
Yeah.
love effort. If you fail, amen. I love you for
What's the
giving
difference
it.
between trying and effort?
Trying is just a cop-out. Effort is everything.
Okay.
You copping out when you're trying.
Like trying.
I tried.
Yeah. But you have
I
5
tried.
excuses in your back pocket.
Absolutely.
Yeah, gotcha.
I tried.
Gotcha.
I tried. No, you quit it.
Yeah.
You quit before
Yeah.
you begun.
Yeah.
See,
And effort is you've thrown away
effort,
the
you
excuses.
killed your effort.
Okay.
And you didn't, like I said, I used to. I don't like it. I tried. I can't stand it. I could, but I won't. Confused. All of these things is always something that gets in your way.
Yeah.
Not showing up on time, punctuality, all of those things. I get it. Things happen. Things come up. But when it becomes a habit, you said it earlier about your choices. You become that.
Yeah.
What you do, you become a product of your environment. Stop allowing things that's not helping you to grow to hinder you from being successful.
Yeah.
Success doesn't always mean how much money you got in your bank account.
Mm-hmm.
I said
Right on,
earlier,
right
even
on.
people that are rich,
Yep.
that have all the fortune, are just as miserable as a poor person on the corner.
Yep.
You understand? Because you can't tell me that, because if you leave here, when you leave here, you can't take it with you anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you going to do with it when you're gone?
Yep.
Well, I'm going to have my pie on earth. I don't care about my pie in the sky. But like I said, in the end of the day, you only got so much time. You got that much time to breathe. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
You're born, your lifeline on the tombstone, you die.
Yeah.
Your ending, your expiration.
Yeah.
What have you done in between that? That dash is your lifeline.
Yep.
It's an unknown. And people need to, he was such a great person. Did you know him 20 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
No. How you know he was a great person?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a great person. I never said I was. I made mistakes. I've failed. I've done things I probably shouldn't have never did. No, I haven't done anything that can get me incarcerated or, things like that. But I never gave myself a real chance until I started to realize that I can lay here and do nothing and kill myself, or I can get up and do something. Listen, life is not over until they put rose petals on your box. If you ain't 6 feet under, get up.
Hey, we hope you've enjoyed this episode so far. Be sure to like and subscribe to not miss a future podcast. Okay, let's get back to the episode. Coach Payne, one of the things that you've spent a lot of your life doing, and it's something that your heart beats for, is our military, our first responders.
Yes, sir.
You work a lot with them, right?
Yes, sir.
What kind of stuff do you do with them?
Well, this goes way back. I've been doing work with these guys for over 15 plus years now. And because I come from a military family, right? So I've always been intrigued. I was just raised by, of course, you have the women and then you have the men.
Mm-hmm.
And that military, yes, sir, no, sir, last word out your mouth better be, sir. I was raised
That's how you were raised.
That's how I was raised.
Okay.
But going further than that, working with the military, that goes a little, just to fast forward, because I've been in the industry for so long, I just had this military or militant demeanor that either instilled some kind of a intimidation way of things, or people looked at it as a sense of motivation. So I had the opportunity.
You do,
yes.
by the way.
Yes.
Because when you were talking, as we were doing this interview, and of course I've watched your stuff, and I said, I can just I can close my eyes and picture you with one of those DI hats on, that's tilted down. Like you just got that demeanor about you. So you're right on.
I do. And I've even had the opportunity to live and going into the story of working with the Navy guys. My boss, who I work with now, again, who's a retired Navy SEAL Team 2.
Mm-hmm.
He was a lieutenant commander for SEAL Team 2. I was doing some work at an event, and I was running a workout program and things like that. And a lot of people was working and doing their thing, and he just happened to, with another colleague who's retired SEAL, who I didn't know anything about, love how I was running my workouts and how I was talking. And first thing he asked me, he said, "What branch are you?" I said, "No branch, sir." He said, "I can't tell where you running that group right there."
Yeah.
He said, and then we just kind of hit it off, and he gave me a business card, and I saw the Trident on the card, and I'm like, "Oh wow, you guys are the real deal,"
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like a kid in the candy store. And fasting forward, I was introduced to do a work with Naval Special Warfare, which is NSWAT. It's a program that's designed to help develop young adults who want to go into Navy Academy or Navy SEALs or, the military, different branches. Some of these young people were branching off, going in different directions, whether it's Marines or Army or, Air Force, you name it. And I'm working alongside with active and retired, people that are pretty bona fide, legit people. And I was just honored to be around that. And it opened up some doors for me, and they would fly me in and go to different places throughout the United States, and not just on the motivational side, but the physical side. And they were very impressed with that. And we're really excited.
So you were, when you say that, you were doing a little bit of both. So you were physically getting them ready,
training them.
but then mentally and motivation.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
They were very intrigued with what, like, most people see me, and they see this guy, and then people that are, obviously military or whatever, I can relate and connect more with them because they understand it.
Your mindset, right?
You
have the warrior mindset.
It's the mind. Yeah. Listen, when you think about, when I work with these guys, I didn't have the opportunity to go to Coronado and go on the Buds base where they actually train for SEALs. And I had an invite. I stayed at the naval base. And, you don't get that invite unless somebody like you, right?
Yeah.
So you got to know somebody to know somebody to get that opportunity. And again, my family was all invited and everything. And one thing that admire about these guys and anyone who serve is that it's the mindset that they focus on. You can have all the muscles and all the endurance in the world, but if your mind is weak, you're done. And a lot of people, and that's why I use the mentality of being lazy and stuff like that. So it brought me to other places throughout the world. You know, I went to the UK, had an opportunity to work with SAS guys. Know some bad dudes.
Yeah.
And I've had worked with Marines and bad dudes.
Mhm.
Force Recon, you name it. These are people that I've had made connections with. And they just inspired me, man. And I was like, man, never had an opportunity to get that opportunity to be there. But I made the biggest mistake when someone said, you know, thank you for your service. And I would say, I don't serve. He said, oh, wait a minute. He's kind of popped me upside my head. And he said, you do serve. You just serve differently. You don't have to wear a
Right
uniform to
on.
be a soldier. My grandfather taught me that.
Right on.
He said, you don't have to wear a uniform to be a soldier. We all serve.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why I use the term, I serve those that do serve.
Yeah, and especially that, and I think that's so important for our listeners because they know anybody who's been listening to our podcast
Yeah.
very long knows all of us. Joe, who is actually the one who this story is about, our podcast is really
Yeah.
about his story.
Yeah.
He masterminded the biggest sports scandal that they know of
Yeah.
back in '94. Went to prison for
Yeah.
it. He and Steven Heddick Smith, who was the
Yeah.
point guard for ASU,
Yeah.
they went to prison. Kind of their life is a redemption story, but he has a passion for our first responders, our protectors. I do. Our whole team does. And
Yeah.
so I love that. But what you're saying is if you weren't in the military or you don't serve as a first responder, you can still serve by serving them.
It's our duty.
Yeah, I agree.
When you go back, listen, nothing against people going on hikes, things like that. If they say a heat advisory and someone has to go up there and get you, you have to think about that. They want to go home too.
Yeah.
Why would you put other people in danger because you're doing things you shouldn't do? I honor them by what I do and how I carry myself.
Mhm.
When I work with them, I'm a part of that unit.
Mhm.
I may be over here and they may be there, but I've gotten the respect because how I conduct myself. Because character, dignity, code of conduct, that goes a long way, man.
Mhm.
And people don't understand that. And true people that serve, whether they're retired or currently serving, they know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
You have to have a certain code of conduct and how you direct yourself and how you live your life. Integrity is everything.
Yeah.
Wearing a uniform doesn't justify anything. It's the man or woman who wears it.
Yep.
You understand what
Yep.
I'm saying?
Yep.
People need to understand that.
Yeah.
So when I say I serve, but I serve differently.
Yeah.
I work with these guys.
Yeah.
All right. I've had opportunities to go to bases and train and be a guest instructor, you name it. And I'm watching these guys watching me, and they like, man, I love this guy, and I'm honored, because you got
do that, man.
you got to have a certain kind of thing about you for them to bring you into their world.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And it's not faking it to make it, because I stand on it. I live it. I do it. I'm a soldier no matter what you think I'm not.
Yeah.
I may not soldier the way you soldier, but I soldier through life.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Well, Coach Payne, you said something early and I jotted it down in my notes here, and we
Yes.
never circled back around to it.
Yes, sir.
But I was going to mention warrior mindset.
Yes, sir.
Because you talked about, you didn't use that exact word, but that's what you're really talking about.
Yes.
Whether you're talking to a high school football team or the Navy SEALs or the Marines or
Yeah.
someone in your gym,
Yes, sir.
you're trying to get them to have this warrior mindset,
Yeah,
right?
because think about it. If you want to be in the military, let's say I have clients right now that I'm training that are prepping to go, military, first responder, you name it. And I don't have to go on into the names and everything. And when I'm working with them, I always come back to the common denominator, like, why are you doing this? And everybody has their why. I don't have to tell you the why. But they have a reason. Are you doing it for this? Are you doing it for that? Are you doing it for the glory? Are you doing it to say you're this or whatever? But I always come back to the warrior mindset. What does that mean? It's not about you. It's about the man or woman next to you. I may not be in the trenches, but I'm here. I am a first responder. I need to be fit and ready just in case. Just in case that firefighter is out there all by himself and he needs a hand to help another person. I am a first responder. I'm a first responder to me and my loved ones in case I can't get to my phone to dial 911. We are all warriors.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we have to look for danger around the corner. I'm saying getting through life, you have to have a warrior mentality. So when I look at Navy SEALs, Force Recon Marines, SAS guys, Rangers, people that I know in that field have gone into that field and may have failed and never made it, whatever. They went in the direction they wanted to go. And I'm so grateful because that's hard, man.
Yeah.
That's tough. Those guys are no joke. They are legit, right?
Yep.
And our women, that go out there and serve and do what they got to do.
Yep.
When you're sitting on the sideline and you're saying all of these amazing things or what you would or would not do, it's not for everybody. But let's salute those that are willing to put it on the line.
For sure.
So if I can just be a part of that, a piece of that, I'm grateful, man.
Yeah.
So I am a military mindset kind of guy.
Yeah, you are.
You understand?
Yeah.
So I don't have to
and that's
wear
why you
your
can
uniform.
speak their language.
Exactly. I
never
don't
wore
have
one
to
of
wear
their
your
Yep.
uniform to show you that I'm a warrior.
Yeah.
I can
But you wear
prove
their
to you
mindset.
I'm a warrior. Oh, I don't care how many push-ups you do. You ask me how many push-ups I can do, all of them. You ask me how much I can bench press, I tell you all the time, anything I don't want on my chest.
Yeah.
Now you ask me who's a warrior.
Yeah.
I don't need to be this physical specimen to prove to you what kind of man I am.
And that goes back to even your training style is functional. Like you said before, you've mentioned that before,
practical
and that's the
functional.
idea. A non-functional program would be like, how many plates do I have on the bar?
Who cares?
But I like what you just said. It's like, I don't want this on my chest. I got to get
I'm
it
gonna
off.
get it
That's
off.
a mindset.
Exactly. It's a mindset.
That's functional.
But get the guy that can bench press a Buick or a 405, whatever. He can't run a mile.
Yeah.
I'm not impressed. Okay, you can bench press. You live your life every day bench pressing?
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It looks great. You're strong. But how's your mindset?
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Mental strength is required.
Yeah.
Not necessarily physical. Physical is easy.
Yeah.
You're supposed to bench press 4 or 5 because you're outweighing a guy that's 100 pounds. You're 100 pounds heavier than that guy. Why is a 135-pound guy trying to keep up with a 250-pound guy? Makes no sense.
Yeah.
That's why I go back to competition. Why am I competing with you?
Compete against yourself.
We're two different people. We're built different.
Yeah.
We move different. I don't need to keep up with you.
Yeah.
You don't need to keep up with me. You can bench 4 or 5. That's great. Now come out here and run with me.
Yeah. and what a great message too for our first responders as well. I liked what you said too about the foxhole, that the mindset is really who's with you.
Amen.
And then using that analogy and bringing it into life. Like, I wasn't in the military. I have 2 kids that were in the military. My dad was a Marine.
You're a part of it.
You weren't, but I'm a part of it. But I'm still in a foxhole. I put that in quotes for people that are listening and not watching. I'm still in a foxhole with people around me. And that same mindset, it's about the person who's with me.
That's right.
And that's what the mindset of a good first responder or a military person, but it should be the same for us civilians.
Why do people say I'm off duty? When you say you're off the clock, I'm off. My wife, she's good at that. I'm off.
Yeah.
But we're never off.
Yeah.
You're never off the clock. You're never off. Yes, get your rest. Eat a meal. Have some me time. Whatever. But if that alarm goes off, something sounds off. You like, I'm off the clock. Yeah. If something tragically happens out that door, you're not just going to sit there. You got nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
If something is going on around you, it's got everything to do with you because danger is coming. Something may have happened down the block and you may say, got nothing to do with me. But what's going to stop it from coming to you?
Yeah.
We always should keep our head on a swivel. Warrior mentality. Stay ready. Don't get ready. Right? We're supposed to always be ready for whatever may come. I use a quote from Bruce Lee, and I say this because it's one of my favorite quotes. He was saying, when an opponent contracts, I expand. When he expands, I contract. For I do not hit. It hits all by itself. That is a powerful, powerful way of looking at things to me. One thing comes one direction, How do you respond to it? Another thing goes another direction. How do you react to it? You have to always have that ready, ready, ready mentality. Stop living your life as if it's okay. Life is a life lesson.
Yeah.
You're learning every single day about you, about me, about us, about everything. We are all warriors.
Yeah. Yeah.
We just have to learn how to use that warrior mentality. But I've never met a true warrior that is lazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you?
Nope. Not even close.
So you're
even
not
close.
what you say you are.
But let's jump in here because this just popped into my mind and I don't want to just confuse because you being a trainer and knowing how the body works and everything,
Yes, sir.
rest is important. It's
Rest is
critical,
important.
but that's different than being lazy, right?
Right.
I actually heard, actually it was Special Forces. It was
Yeah.
a guy in the Special Forces. And he said, we learned really quickly when we were out in the field, like the real field, not training, but on a real exercise, that rest was one of our greatest weapons.
Yes.
That's different than laziness. So speaking to that
So
a little bit.
let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So we're not robots.
Yeah.
We have this analogy like, keep going, never quit. Da da da. I get that. We can be that person. You're still human.
Mm-hmm.
Rest when you need to rest.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Refuel when you need to refuel. Recover when you need to recover. But you still got to go to work.
Yep.
Manage your time. Manage what you do with your efforts. Balance the checkbook. You've heard the saying, balance meals.
Mm-hmm.
Balance. We are unstable. Our society is unstable. We live in an industrial society. Go, 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 go. Gotta go, gotta get it, gotta go, gotta work, I gotta work 12 hours. Hey, do this. I gotta get the kids to school. I gotta. Then what? You're moving on fumes. Reserve, preserve. Reserve, preserve. Reserve.
That's good.
You got to.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
didn't say go out here and be
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
I'm saying know when to fight and know when to be cool.
Yeah.
I, myself, am the calm and I am the storm. I'm both. That's me.
Yeah.
Never said you have to be like
Yeah.
me. I don't do the calm and the storm. I'm both.
Yeah.
I know when to turn it up.
Yeah.
I know when to be cool.
Yeah, and I think a healthy life, even
That's
physically, even when
anything.
you have to have both.
You gotta have both.
yeah.
You gotta know when to be the calm and when to be the storm.
Yeah.
Know what battles to fight and know the ones not to fight.
But to your point and kind of the way you live and your message, I think about Sabbaths in the Bible. It talks about it.
Yes.
It's a gift that God gave us right away, and He's saying once a week, just like to. But the difference between laziness is He gave us 6 days to work and 1 day to rest. If you go by the Sabbath principle, not 6 days to rest and 1 day to work.
And here's
There's
the
a
crazy
difference.
part. Here's the crazy part. When I say lazy, I think that the misinterpretation when I say lazy, it's this thing we think like it's a thing about rest and there's a thing about lazy.
Yeah.
Rest is
not the
necessary.
same thing.
Lazy is not necessary.
Yes. Not the same
When
thing.
I hear people will tell you that I'm just lazy. You proud of that?
Yeah.
If you say that to me, you look me in my eye and say, Coach, I'm just a lazy guy. I don't want you around me. What if something happened and you too lazy to get up and move? Oh, there's something happened.
Mhm.
Your energy is you. You're perpetuating this thing. You're bringing it to life. And I don't want that. So rest is necessary. Laziness isn't. But let's be honest. Most people in our society are lazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come on. You put something on social media. If it's more than 2 minutes, they don't want to hear it after that.
Mm-hmm.
If it's something that's got a long, I don't want to read that.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be click of a button.
Yeah.
Everything's click up.
Yep.
Alexa, turn on the lights.
Yeah. Grab my attention in the
Alexa,
first 10 seconds.
do this.
Yep.
Alexa, do that. Won't you get up and just hit the light button?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to do anything. Self-driving cars. Do. Life is good.
Yeah.
I saw a guy driving a Tesla. He set a walker to his car. He let the car drive up to him. He younger than me. Man, get up and go walk over there and get in that car. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, our technology
I
isn't
understand
helping
about
us.
you having a cool looking vehicle.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You still got milk on your breath. Get up, walk your young self over there and get in that car.
Yeah,
Why are you pressing a button to bring it over? Because it looks cool?
Yeah.
No, I'm real with this stuff, man. So some people may think it's harsh. Some people may think it's unnecessary, but that's the problem with us as society. We're not getting anywhere being soft, man.
Yeah.
We got to do better.
Yeah.
So when you go back to the military, when you go back to these warriors that are out there fighting for our country and fighting around the world and doing what they got to do to protect us, who's protecting them? Who are you protecting?
Yeah.
I got to protect my wife. I got to protect my family. I got to protect my dog. I got to protect my home. But I don't have the full capabilities of doing that because I'm too busy being lazy.
Yeah.
Learn some stuff.
Laziness is, based on what you're saying, I'm surmising that you say laziness is a mindset.
It is.
Versus rest.
Rest is different.
Part of
rest
what
is
it means to be a
necessary. You
warrior.
can't run your car without fueling it up after so long.
Yeah.
You can't have an electronic without that has batteries.
You gotta
Sooner or later, the
refuel
battery
it.
is going to run out.
Yep.
You got to refuel. That's a difference, though. I have people that love to work out. If they can work out 8 days a week and there's no 8 days in a week, they would do it. And I have to say, slow down. Take a break. It's okay. Rest. You don't have to work out. I work out 6 days a week. Why? There's no such thing as overtraining. Yes and no. Your body, your joints, your ligaments, there are things that you need to take into consideration. Recovery is necessary. When I say lazy, I mean like there are things that you can do better. You just choose not to do. We have to stop giving laziness a pass. We have to stop giving weakness a pass. We have to stop making excuses our best friend. The time is now. Change your thought process and do better. We got to stop with this, it's okay. It's not okay. It's not okay because that moment you're lazy is when something can happen tragically and you can't get it back.
As we're wrapping up this episode, be sure to leave us a 5-star review. And if you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment on something you'll take away. All right, let's hop back into the remainder of the episode. My friend, if I had to think about all this, and you have packed messages into this. I mean, there's so many quotable quotes you've given.
Thank you.
But it's this time of, I would tell our listeners, if there's one thing you get out of this, to just ask yourself when you're trying to make a decision, when your voice inside your head is saying something, ask yourself, am I being lazy? Am I making an excuse? Because like you said, I've got breath in my lungs.
Oh, man.
And
isn't that beautiful?
Get up.
That's
up, the key of what you're saying.
Get up, man. If get up, you can get up, you can get up now. It's like, man, it's, some people can look at it from a different perspective, well, that's just you and everybody's not like you. But it'll come a time you wish you was. People better wake up. It's what it is. So let's just keep the ball rolling, man. I think I'm just thankful to the good Lord that I'm able to be a part of this opportunity to be with you guys and your team. And I hope that somebody out there that's listening can see this side of what I really believe in. And like I said, everybody's got a story to tell.
Yeah. Well, if they weren't motivated or challenged by your words, I'm going to question whether they have a heartbeat then. So good. Well, hey, our listeners, I know some of them are like, how in the world do I get a hold of Coach Payne? I want to hear more, or I want to find more. So there's 2 ways, coachpayneacademy.com.
Yes, sir.
So coachpayneacademy.com.
Yes, sir.
Or ridewithcommand.com.
That's our fitness facility.
That's your fitness facility.
Yeah, the boot camp style of Coach Payne Academy has more of a practical style of fitness, strength conditioning, all that cool stuff, HIIT style, all that good stuff.
And then if they go to YouTube and they just put in Coach Payne, they'll find your
page there.
That's
more on my
YouTube
channel. Yeah, I'm on Spotify as well.
Yep.
They can find me on there as well. So there are ways of reaching out to get me.
And for our listeners, you can already tell listening, if they've been listening to this podcast, they already know how true this is.
Yeah.
I said at the beginning, if you want to be motivated, go listen to Coach Payne talking to you, man. I'm telling you, it gets you through some stuff.
I want to just say thank you for the opportunity. Shout out to all our men and women who serve both far and near. First responders, military personnel. I'm grateful to have opportunity, as I said before, to serve those that do. Very, very tight with the military community and first responder community around the world. I just am inspired by that because somebody got to do it, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to serve those that do serve.
So, Coach Payne, we always finish every podcast with this. It's kind of one of my favorite parts. It's ironic because we call this no gray areas, and I'm going to ask you to lie to me. So you're going to give me 3 statements. 2 are going to be truths, 1 are going to be a lie, and I got to try to figure out which one of the lie is. It's a fun way for our audience to get to know you a little better. So 2 truths and a lie. I'll try to pick the lie.
I love insects.
Okay.
I love seafood. I love fast cars.
Oh, man, you're not going to make this easy on me, are you? You got to love fast cars. I'm going to say that's true.
That's true.
All right, so now I'm down to a 50-50. You know what? You're from Chicago, so I'm going to say seafood is out. That's the lie. You don't like seafood.
No, not much.
You don't?
I don't.
I got it right?
You got it right.
Yes.
I'm very, very particular about
So
it.
you like insects, and you're not...
No, I despise insects.
Oh, that's the lie. That's the lie. Okay. Oh, I'm with you. On that one. I would rather take on a grizzly bear than...
If I see a cricket, I melt like butter.
Yeah. I'm with you. I was in the Brazilian jungle the last 2 years. I had to go in the middle of the Brazilian jungle a couple of times.
Yeah.
Big spy. Oh, it's just hideous.
Man. My soul will leave my body and talk to Jesus. I can't stand bugs, man.
Yeah. Well, there's another thing we have in common.
Yeah, buddy. I've had people, you too big. You a big guy. Why you like bugs? I say, because there's no such thing as insect politics.
Yeah.
You can't negotiate with them.
No, kill them.
That's all I know.
I'm
yes,
with
sir.
you.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Coach Payne.
My pleasure.
What an honor it was to share that conversation with Coach Payne. We hope this episode encouraged and lit a fire inside of you to get up and have a warrior mentality out there. Remember to subscribe to our channel and share this episode with someone who needs it. We'll see you next time on No Gray Areas.